do? Turn death into a fighting chance to live. I'm really messing up the Star Trek 3 quote, but I got close. Here's where it happens. Another one of my random cards, but today it's my 2 cents on just finishing up Ashes of Tomorrow. A lot of fun, a lot of geek out fun with this one. Others have read it, others have done something on YouTube about it. I don't have any grand plan. I enjoyed it. I meant to pace it out, read it just a little bit a day and read other things, do projects, do work, but no, I had to go way into this and not stop. That's the joy of a good Star Trek novel. That's how I read the Destiny series, all 3 of them by Mac. And I don't think I've read any Trek book as quickly as those since right now. Me and Trek books go back a long way. I'm just going to digress on that. It all comes back to 1988 again. 3-Minute Universe was a great Trek novel. Came out in 88. I would have been... Sorry, the math is good. 11 or 12. 11 or 12. And I found it at the local Kmart. And I like the cover because the titles would be kind of upright. I can't quite. You always knew first printings of a Trek novel. There were plenty of geek outs on Trek novels. I just did a cursory glance today, and I'm like, okay, I'm not alone on this, so I'm gonna leave that alone. Suffice to say, I think I've had all of them over the years. I've sent them to my local comic shop and back, or my local used bookstore and back, and I might have grabbed all the ones that I've lost over the years, and I have them. They're always here. And what I often do is binge. And it's been a few good years since I've binged out on Trek books. My last books were the Christopher Bennett Enterprise continuations, which were a lot of fun. And I geeked out last time on his temporal investigations books, which I totally recommend. I don't have them for me to get right now. I spent too much time editing. It made me sad. So I'm going to go back just to the high energy, see how long I can stand it. But this book is a great Trek Geek Out book. Beautiful. Job well done. It's a sad book. Bad things happen. Well, things... Yeah, they are bad things. But they have to happen. This is a media tie-in. Things have changed a bit with Picard. And hey... nothing like Trek writers to really geek out. So this is especially the influence of Christian Bale in creating Picard. Regardless of what you think of the show, it's nice that we finally have the Trek novelist playing some role. And we saw that in the last season of Enterprise. When the Garfield Reeves-Stevenses came, the Reeves-Stevensons, one of them's... I hate that I can't remember the other's name, but the Reeves-Stevens came in and they did what I find to be one of the best of the Enterprise episodes, The Forge. I watched that again and again. Nevertheless, let my geek out go. Ashes of Tomorrow. Do you need to have read 20 years worth of Star Trek novels to enjoy this? Probably not. I haven't even read them all. They're almost infinite. I read the bulk of the Deep Space Nine novels, starting with A Stitch in Time by Andrew Robinson. I have a signed copy over there I'm looking at right now. A lot of fun with those. I'm glad to see that this middle book is very Deep Space Nine centered. And that's all I have to say about that, right? Kind of see what's coming, even if you know what's coming, because you're like, okay, well, everything's got to go down, right? It's gonna happen. You finally get to see an end to some characters. That's something that a lot of us don't get to see, in comics and continuations of media tie-ins. We don't necessarily get to see that unless there's a book outside of whatever continuity we're into. So occasionally we get to see the end of beloved characters. And here we get to see him too. My 2 cents on this, even with the next step in whatever continuity may be, I'm hoping some of these ancillary characters that just came out of this 20-year novel verse, I'm hoping that they'll show up in different ways throughout in the next 20 years of Trek novels. That's the good news. So it's nice to have always picked up a book, a Trek book, every 1 or 2 years. I think I stopped. I read the Destinies. I read the Typhoon pack, and then they had like 5 books called The Fall. And I think after The Fall, I kind of stopped for a bit and just enjoyed Bennett's Enterprise books because they were just that. They didn't. I could get one once a year and not have to read 5 others. But I still have them all. I'm going to go back and finally read those Voyagers, catch up on the next gen stuff. And I don't think I've ever read a Titan novel, for that matter. I digress. Ashes of Tomorrow is something that can be enjoyed. What I love about this that you don't... And here's something I missed initially. We're all used to seeing the cover page, right? And like based on Star Trek, based on this. And then I'm like, oh, it's got some Picard in here too. When's this going to show up? And, probably need to give Picard another whirl. Like most folks, I was kind of like, oh, okay, but we need... How many people haven't hated any new Trek out there whenever it was out there? Everybody hated Next Gen in 87. Folks just hated on Enterprise all 3 out of the 4 years it was on the air, right? Until Manny Coda became showrunner. But nonetheless, this is okay. I see where they're going to come in. And I noticed in Oblivion's Gate, which is coming up next, and I'm gonna get to soon. I think I'm just going to spend the next day going through this again. I noticed that we have Discovery here as well. So I'm guessing this is because of the references to Control. I guess there was a Section 31 novel that before Picard was in the works, they tried to work all the disco Control stuff into the novel verse. So as much as I'm like it's so about Section 31, I think I'll give that a go. Anyway, okay, so this based on the events we saw in Book 1, which I didn't do any review of Book 1. I just geeked out about the alternate timelines and compared it to a little bit of Spider-Man, No Way Home, and what they were doing in Loki, and it's just fun to do. Nevertheless, some bad things went down, and part 2, we're moving from the Next Gen crew to Deep Space Nine centered, even though Picard and everyone, and all the players are still there. All the players are on the board. And sad things happen because we can kill some established characters now. So, and the joy, if such exists, or at least the emotional attachment you have in the experience of reading these, comes in with the, how do these characters meet their end, and in what way? And that's worth the experience for any Trek fan. So I appreciate that. I did have some, okay, why are we doing this, issues in the book, but I'm just writing about those on my own because I see that a few things irritate me. Why is this character acting like this? What are we doing this with Starfleet and the Federation? Why are they sitting on their hands? Why do we have to make Picard like the lone hero again? Is this going to be the Journeys in Picard, or is this the Insurrection Picard? Well, it's the Insurrection Picard. We've got to go out and do this alone, even though Starfleet won't listen. But, what's the reason why Starfleet's not listening? I'm hoping that'll be played out in Book 3, because it has to, because I'm like, this is a big issue, right? This is some scary stuff here. All right, so how long am I going, and why am I going? I'm just going to stop. All I got to say is, this is a great Geek-Out book. That's all. This is fun. I read it too quickly, but I read it nonetheless. I was there. I was in there. The Orb of Time's showing up here. Oh, this is beautiful. Next we're moving into the Mirror Universe. I don't know what to think about that. But we'll see how it goes. I'm so on the idea. But hey, to be critical is to work through it and then enjoy it. And I appreciate, I think here's what I want to say at the end of the day. Mac and Swallow and Ward. One can appreciate the three of them and other Trek writers sitting down and hashing this out. What do we need to get from A to B to C? And as I'm reading it, I'm into the narrative. I'm seeing these characters as real. But another part of me is just appreciating how these three authors are working out the outline for these books. I'm like, you've got to have this character die, so they motivate the actions of these other characters, and we get to see A and B and C. Beautiful. The standouts so far in the book, we'd like to think they're Picard and the regular set, but no. I'm going to say the standout still is Worf. I think Worf's in a hub here because of the episode Parallels. And then Worf meets up with... I don't think everything's a spoiler any day, but, Spock shows up. We have Spock here. So this is... All these novels were set before the so-called events of the 2009 Trek movie. I think they did have a year that these novels were going toward with the destruction of Romulus, but we were nowhere close to that yet before the Picard continuity change took place. So it was going toward a course up to the destruction of Romulus, and perhaps even beyond that too, because if that really doesn't happen anymore, right? But if that did happen in this particular timeline, I don't think that would affect these novels at all. You just, Spock would be off the board because Spock goes back after the Narada, so on and so forth. And I know that I'm sure it wasn't a Bennett novel, but maybe it's not. The dark matter or whatever it was in the Star Trek 2009 that destroyed Vulcan. That shows up in the novel verse just as a throwaway line, but so they were headed that way. But nonetheless, to appreciate how we put these characters together, as sad as it was to see a lot of the novel verse characters meet their end in the first book of this series, and then once you understand that, okay, these are the stakes here, then you're just kind of waiting for it. Right? Okay, which one is which one? There's some sad moments. All right, I think I just overdid it. I hope I can share with you my appreciation for all the Star Trek authors. They don't get paid as much as they should, which sucks. But that's how these media tie-in books go. So if I don't know if I've ever I read something by Swallow in the. They had a whole collection of different universe book, a whole collection of mirrored universes, and I see that there was a short story in there that I read. But I'm gonna have to find some of his previous stuff too. I'm sure I've read it. There are a lot of authors for those Deep Space Nine books. Got to catch them all, right? All right, that's my 2-second geek out, getting my energy back. Not feeling so tired. My last couple episodes, I kind of let myself down. One of them couldn't even see my eyes because I forgot to put the contrast down on the computer. But yeah, that's my geek out. A lot of reminded me of this scene here. This kind of encapsulates where we're going with book 2. So a lot of that going on here. So that's my mini spoiler there. Star Trek 3 gets a few shout outs in here as well. A lot of fun. Okay, nothing to be sad about, right? There's plenty of room under the tent for all kinds of stuff in Trek, and it's been nice, and we've been lucky and fortunate to have these characters evolve for 20 years the way they have. And, maybe some aspects of what we see here will gradually become used elsewhere. So, there you go. You have a good day.